So possibly the most controversial blog that I've done so far. Why not? Let's delve into politics. Are politics taking over your life? Because I sure feel like they're taking over my life. And the truth is, it's been taking over all of our lives in a very quite literal kind of way. And while I usually research spirituality, astrology, and psychology, politics doesn't seem to have much to do with that, does it? But then again, it kind of does. So let's get into the area where politics and spirituality intersect. Now, for people that hate politics and try to steer away from it at all costs, it has come to like faceplant you and demand that you listen. And so there's no running away, there's no hiding. It's pretty much forced upon all of us. And for people that do enjoy politics, it's still almost so much that it's not fun anymore. It's just all encompassing. It isn't fun, and it isn't fun in games. And there's a feeling like there's something serious going on here. And there is. So we'll get into what that is. But the good news is, at least we're not alone. We're all kind of stuck in this politics ruling our life kind of way right now. And it's going to get better. Bad news is, it's going to take a while to get better. And it's probably going to get a little worse before it gets better. So a little bit of background about me. So I was raised in a very politically heated family. It was very divided. And at the dinner table, there would be all-out fights with yelling and screaming and shouting about politics. I was probably more of a peacemaker type, and I didn't see that this was going anywhere. I'm more of a psychologist type, and I just saw that it created divide. So for most of my 20s, I stayed out of politics. I didn't even vote, I think, until I was almost 30 years old. And I always thought it was kind of curious how, even though I was from a very almost fundamentalist religion in my upbringing, it seemed like my family was way more passionate about politics than they were about religion. So maybe I could chalk that up to the fact that we were all on the same side, or supposed to be at least, in religion, but we weren't in politics. But there's something more to that, something deeper than that, which leads me to the Mark Twain quote, "Never bring up politics or religion in polite company." And so on a psychological level, I always wonder, why is that? Why are these two topics so divisive and just make people see red, where they can't think clearly? This was before I got into astrology. And once getting into astrology, you see that politics and religion have a lot to do with the ninth house, which are belief systems. Now, here in America, when this outbreak started, it was compared to 9/11. And so if you look at the astrology of 9/11, of that event, what's curious about it is that the North Node of both events are almost identical. North Node in Cancer, cusping or leading into North Node in Gemini. Very curious, because North Node in Gemini means South Node in Sagittarius, which means too much, the dark side of Sagittarius. So wouldn't that mean the dark side of politics and or religion? Which is sort of what both of these huge world events have to do with. Now, I'm not sure what happened around the world in other countries when we here in America had 9/11, but I'd be very curious to know if there were other similar events going on that put politics and religion and belief systems kind of smack dab in front of everyone's face for the moment. And we haven't seen anything like this since 9/11, and it does feel like 9/11. And I've never seen such passion where two people that don't usually talk about politics are all out fighting about politics, or two people that usually get along are no longer on speaking terms. People that are very rational minded are thinking about conspiracy theories. So belief systems are definitely being uprooted and unearthed right now. And of course, for anybody that knows astrology, when this started, North Node was also profound because it was at the tail end of it here, and it forced us to focus on our family, which is Cancer. And last year, that South Node Capricorn was ruling our life, and everybody was just focused on work, and we were working a lot. I think it was a very productive year, but maybe we felt out of sync with our families. We felt like we were losing touch with our families, getting too distant emotionally, and now here we are, 24/7 with our families. So the beginning that we're entering of this South Node in Sagittarius is going to take us to see and unearth these motivations of belief systems and that seeing red I was talking about, where you might not be able to think clearly. And somebody's so impassioned and so emboldened by a belief system of a party, or in some cases religion or government, who's right, who's wrong, who's to blame, all of these things, these belief systems. And then as we head out of this Sagittarius South Node and heading into the North Node Gemini, we'll be able to come at this more clear-headed and find some solutions, hopefully, and be able to work together better. But of course, this first part is not going to be easy for those of us that don't like conflict. So we are in a political awakening. Ta-da! As if we couldn't feel that already. So beliefs are going to shift massively during this time. It's an all-out ideology war. And it's going to be hard to stay sane during this time. For one, your beliefs might change, and it might be really hard to actually admit, hey, I was kind of wrong about that issue, and I'm rethinking it now. And the brain will go on overdrive to prove that it's right, even though all facts will show otherwise. But I'm not saying there's one side or the other. I'm not going to make this political at all, and I hope that you won't know what my political beliefs are. But the goal to stay sane during this time is to look at politics, because we all are going to have to look at politics and our beliefs, but look at it from inward outward instead of outward inward. Meaning, if I want to change the world, I have to change myself. Not meaning, I don't feel good about myself, so I want to force change onto the world, which hopefully will make me feel better in the end. So let's get back to that Mark Twain quote. Never bring up politics or religion in polite company. I want to look at the similarities between politics and religion. And then I want to look at something that I don't have a word for yet. And I'm hoping maybe you guys can give me the word for it. Let's look at this. So politics and religion are both involving belief systems that people believe so strongly that they're willing to fight friends, neighbors, loved ones, and maybe have resentment afterwards, maybe not even like the person afterwards, create division, right? In America, at least, we have one political party that is tied in with Christianity and the other party that isn't. And while the one that isn't sees themselves as free of religious zealot or fervor, truthfully, all of politics is full of religious fervor and ideology, because we're going to see a lot of that. That's why people will unfriend someone who disagrees with them, right? Religion was the politics of the time. The Catholic Church, for instance, having power stronger than any government. The Vatican was the center. And now politics are much stronger in the world than the power of religion. That's an interesting point in history. I think that has been a big shift in probably the last couple decades, is that political sway has become more powerful than a religious belief. And I don't think that's just for America either. So now that we've looked at the similarities between religion and politics, let's look at the difference between religion and spirituality. Two words that seem to be the same, but are they? The question that divides them and the question that separates them to two sides would be this: what is more important to you? Acceptance and to belong, or to know the truth? One answer is going to lead you to value religion, which of course is acceptance, because it's that tribal group mentality to belong. And that is also the same answer that leads you towards a political party. The other answer, to know the truth, leads you to spirituality. And instead of politics, it leads you to something that I don't even think there's a word for. So I'm just going to make something up here. You've heard of self-actualization. Well, I'm going to use the word political actualization. It's hard to actually say. To reach political actualization, the truth has to be top priority and not your belief system. And that is what is going to get us out of the South Node Sagittarius and the darkest forms of that and into the North Node Gemini. For us to be able to see the facts, to be able to accept the facts. And I don't just mean little myopic facts and then saying, oh, look, this proves my political belief. But I mean the overall picture. Like, try to get the largest perspective possible. To actually be willing to rethink every belief system based on new evidence. Now, I know it might be offensive for me to say that political parties are religious zealots. And that might sound very judgy, but I'm not saying that anyone who belongs to a party is a religious zealot or a political zealot. But I'm saying that anyone who chooses the party before they choose the truth is definitely buying into a belief system first and foremost. I have come out of a religion before that was all inclusive and life controlling. So I've experienced what it is to have that breaking point where everything that you believe and everything that you know is broken. It feels like you're falling, and it feels like the world is crumbling around you. And it feels like that red pill, blue pill sort of matrix moment where you wake up and you're in a whole new world that you didn't even know was there. And this whole time you've been inside of a simulation. So I can see that kind of brainwashing, I guess I would call it. I can see it in other people when they don't see it in themselves. They can say, well, I'm not religious, therefore I am not just a sheep following the herd and buying into something that's a belief that is not proven. But in a way, science has become a religion unto itself, and political parties have become a belief unto themselves. And even atheism has become a belief in a religion unto itself. At our core, we can't deny that we as human beings seek out to believe in something. That's that Sagittarius 9th house that we all have. But I would just encourage you to first seek the truth. And I don't mean seek facts in a cold, clinical kind of way. I mean seek the truth. Seek the resonance, which will alleviate spite, fear, anger, oppression, and lead you to feel more of, well, I guess I'll quote the movie Babe. The way things are is the way things are. And that is essentially just the truth. And in wrapping up, I'm not against any political party. I'm not against any religious group. I just think to think as an individual and to find a foundation first based on truth is the brave and courageous thing to do. There have been many dark things in life that have been led by political movements and by religious movements, because personal intuition and truth-seeking is overpowered by group thinking. And when you're in that war sort of spirit, the zealot spirit, you won't be able to think clearly. And you'll be fully emboldened to fight a battle. And until the ramifications of all that come out, at the very, very, very end of the saga, you won't really know which side of the story you were on. So instead of seeking what's right, seek what is true. We are soon entering North Node Gemini, so let the truth be our guiding star. Hope you enjoyed this video and come back for more. Subscribe.